Muted. Okay, there we go. There we go. What is up, people? What is up, people? I'm your host for Where to Live in Northern Virginia, and we have a great show lined up for you today. A great conversation. Just a reminder: there will be a Q&A session in the middle of this broadcast, and a Q&A on the back end. Right, so we'll answer any questions that come in the middle or at the beginning, and then we'll answer any questions at the end. Right? So just post your questions down below in the comment section, wherever you are on Facebook or on YouTube watching this session. So today's show is about selling your home without an agent, right? Selling your home without an agent. This topic is coming up a lot these days because, we're in Northern Virginia. We have double-digit appreciation year over year in most of the Northern Virginia market. So a lot of sellers, a lot of homeowners are thinking to themselves, you know what? If houses are flying off the market like they seem to be doing, then why am I using a real estate agent? And you know what? I got to say, I don't think that they're wrong. I don't think that they are wrong for thinking that. I don't think that they're wrong for believing that's okay. It's just it's human nature to see things going very well for a large group of people, and to think to yourself, you know what, I can do the same thing myself. So this conversation and the notes I'm going to share with you actually originated on Nextdoor. Inside my Nextdoor community, there are like 10,000 residents that live close to where I live that are all in the same little Nextdoor forum, right? Nextdoor is an online platform for you to communicate with your neighbors. I highly recommend that you join Nextdoor if you're not on Nextdoor wherever you are. So somebody asked on Nextdoor, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house myself. Anyone who has sold their house before without a real estate agent, let me know your experience. I would love to, pick your brain. Like, let me know what steps I need to do, what I need to look out for. And like clockwork, this person who's really trying to do like almost like an information gathering session, this member asked everybody for their opinion, and within seconds, real estate agents jumped on top of that opportunity to market their services, right? Because this particular individual is known in our market as a for sale by owner, right? And so for sale by owners are a very lucrative part of the real estate agent's business, because most people, even when they try to sell their houses on their own, they are unsuccessful. We're actually going to get into the reasons why they're unsuccessful in this video. This video, if you watch it in its entirety and follow the steps correctly, right, should decrease your failure rate when you're selling your house in Northern Virginia. It just should decrease your, like needing to reach out to an agent, right? Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably saying, Abraham, you're a real estate agent. You don't make money from helping us sell our house ourselves. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? That's a great question. That's a great question. And I'm glad you asked. A couple things come to mind when I think about this question. One, I'm a professional, right? I've been selling real estate since 2008. And I've sold real estate in New Orleans, my hometown. And when I came to Northern Virginia in 2013, I started selling real estate here as well. So I've sold real estate in two different markets, met a bunch of people, and this is what I know. I can't sell all the houses. I just can't, not yet. I don't have the team. I don't have the infrastructure to sell all the houses. So we shouldn't pretend like I can sell all the houses, right? We shouldn't pretend like that. Secondly, everybody isn't going to use a real estate agent. Everybody just isn't. So if everybody isn't going to use a real estate agent, why are we pretending like like people aren't just going to sell the house on their own, right? I don't understand why we're pretending. So since we know, this is another reason why I'm doing this video. Since we know every year a certain percentage of people will sell their houses without a real estate agent, and also that percentage increases whenever the market becomes easier to traverse, right? The risk is lower, then hey, you know what happens? More people come into the market. More people come into the market trying to do it themselves, trying to sell the houses themselves. Those people deserve to have a good experience too. So the best way to give those individuals a good experience is to do this video, right? To make this piece of content, share this with them, and then they'll most likely have a better experience selling their property. Now, there is a financial reason for me doing this as well. If you're selling your property yourself, you're going to be homeless. That means you're going to need another property. I would love to help you buy that next property, right? Maybe you're buying local. I would love to help you buy local. If you're moving out of the area, relocating to the area, maybe you need a real estate agent in another market. I would love to help you find that agent in another market too, because I can also make money that way. So there's multiple ways to make money in this business. You just have to find that way, find that resource, or become that resource. And so that's it. So there we have it. So that's why I'm doing a video. Let's talk about a real life story that happened to me when I was trying to help a for sale by owner, somebody that was selling their houses by themselves, do it maybe in, I think this was like 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017, right? I met this wonderful person when I was door knocking in the Kingstown community. And they had a for sale by owner sign in front of their yard, right? They had just like a little yard sign in their yard that says, like, call me, I'm selling my house by myself, right? So I knock on the door because I'm door knocking at that time. You can't door knock right now because of the pandemic. Well, I know some people who are door knocking right now. I'm just not one of those people, right? So I door knocked this lady who was selling a house by herself, and she had a very interesting story. Well, she offered me to come into the house, which makes sense. She wants to get as many people to look at the property as possible. She offered me an opportunity to come to the property, and then we start chatting about her situation, right? And so this lady was she recently retired, and she's going to be on fixed income for a while. And so since she's going to be on fixed income, she doesn't really want to pay a real estate agent fee because she wants to make as much money as possible with her property in Northern Virginia so she could move down to Florida and enjoy her retirement years, right? So paying a real estate agent $15,000-$20,000 or whatever it was back then just wasn't in the cards for her. She just wanted to save as much money as possible. So I really like this individual, and I really want to see them succeed in doing this, getting themselves relocating to a new market, having as much money in their pocket as possible. So I proceeded to walk this person through some of the same steps I'm going to help you or walk you through in a few minutes here. And I got to say, this lady never took my advice. She never took my advice, and her house struggled to get showings. Her property didn't really show well online. She never got off the ground. And then come to find out, she was paying the mortgage up here in Northern Virginia, and it was just cheaper just for her to move to Florida and manage everything in Florida. So then she hired my services, right? She hired my full services to assist her in selling her house, and we sold her house maybe like 2 months later, doing the same activities I suggested to her. And so it wasn't like I was really trying to help this individual out. But I don't know what it is about people and not taking a professional's advice. I don't know if people think that the steps that we take to sell properties is just so cumbersome. It's an arduous task that people are like, oh no, I don't have to do all that stuff. That's not necessary. It is. It is. We're professionals. Like we do this for a living. And a lot of things that we do, you could do yourself. And so what I find is that a lot of people are just like trying to wing it. And it's the weirdest thing. I gotta admit, it's the weird thing. So this is just this video is about. This video is to help that young lady who was moving out of our area, trying to save money, and not use an agent, right? I mean, she had no ill will towards agents. Her and we used to talk every Monday. I used to go visit her every Monday, and we would have she would make me a little snack or something like that, and have a beverage for me. I would just sit down and talk to her about how things were going with her marketing, and we must have did that for maybe like 8 weeks. Right. Like I used to see her so often, and she was so unsuccessful at selling her house that my wife was like, babes, you got to stop trying to help this lady. This lady doesn't want to help herself. And I was like, no, I think that this lady could sell her house on her own. But she did not take my advice. I hope you don't do that. She did not listen to a lick of the sense the game I was trying to give her. I hope you don't do that. And I'm about to share all that game with you, that strategy, on this video. I'm telling you, after you watch this video, you're going to think to yourself, oh my goodness, that was legit. Like, he actually tried to assist. And so that's what we're going to do here. Now, let's jump into one more conversation right quick. Let me see if I can share my screen. All right, let's jump into one more reason why we see so many people right now testing the market. Let's see. Right. Application window, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So this is another reason why we see so many people testing the market. All right. So this is a nice little graph here that I pulled up off of the service that real estate agents have that's tied to the MLS. And what we're looking at right now is we're actually looking at the average list price. Excuse me. We're looking at the average list price over the last 5 years, right? So this graph here shows average list price over the last 5 years, and look at that trajectory. Look at how this number jumped from 2019 to now. Look at that distance, that leap that the average list price did from 2019 to now, right? To now. This report is all the way to December 2020, right? The report for January doesn't come out until February the 13th of the month. So maybe we'll look at that on a future video. So you can see, the market is aggressive on a list side. Now, the list side tells you one story. This tells you what sellers are asking for their properties. This is what they're asking for their properties. Now, what you're going to say to yourself, and maybe a professional is going to watch this, because I expect to get a lot of hate from my real estate agent friends about this video because it's going to tell all, right? So what you're saying, what most real estate agents says is, that's what they listed for. That's not what they got. So you can't wrap your head around that. This number is just a marketing number. I say the same thing. It is. It's true. It's just a marketing number. But let's look at this next graph. Let me show you this one more graph. This is the sales price to list price ratio. This number shows, okay, great. So we have the list price. This is what the sellers think they can get for the property. The sales price ratio says, okay, great. What percentage of the sales price, what percentage of the list price did these properties sell at? And do you see how that number hasn't moved from 100% since the beginning of 2019? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. That means that those list prices that I showed you, right? So from this May to December timeframe, those list prices have gone up. And you would think that, because they're going up, maybe we're going to see higher days on market. Maybe we're going to see that list price to sales price ratio decrease just a little bit while people are testing the market, especially this jump from I believe this is like August of 2019. This jump to the beginning of 2020 is like the largest jump on this graph. But you can see there is no difference here with sales price to list price ratio. That means that what sellers are asking for their properties, they're getting. They're getting. This is another reason why you're seeing more people kind of think about selling their properties on their own. And I get it. That makes sense. Like, why would you pay, at least save money on the listing agent side of the game, right? Which if our average sales price is in the $500,000, you're talking about saving what, $12,000? $12,000 ain't no chump change. That's not no pocket change. So I get it. This graph right here shows us why people are doing it. And I get it. I get it. I gotta be honest with you. I get it. So let's jump into the show. Let's start the show. Before we start, a little bit about me. My name is Abraham Walker, and I'm your favorite Northern Virginia YouTube real estate agent. Right. So on this channel, I do videos. I do educational content to tell you, to educate you, to bring the consumer up to speed about what's going on in the market. I believe a more educated consumer will lead to more educated decisions, and you will base your decisions when picking a real estate agent on that information. And since I know a lot of agents don't have that much educational content out there, I'm hoping, right? My goal is that you see this as my interview. This video is an interview for you to use my services. And I just challenge you, right, to find somebody else with competing information, and it's going to be challenging, right? So I do the research so you don't have to. If you're thinking about buying a home, you're thinking about selling a home, you're thinking about relocating to the Northern Virginia area, reach out to me. Don't be shy. There's a link in the description to the Perfect Home questionnaire, right? Fill out that brief survey. Once you do, we'll schedule a time to meet online. We'll schedule a Zoom. You and I will chop it up. We'll talk about what's going on in the market. We'll talk about your goals, what you would like to see in the next couple months, right? Usually the people who are reaching out are usually like maybe 3 to 6 months away from making a decision. So that's very common. We get a couple people that are like making decisions right now. That's on usually on the rare side, but still you can do the same. So reach out to me. That link in the description, Perfect Home questionnaire, and then we could jump on a Zoom call and answer any questions that you may have. There's also a playlist. I'll put a link to it right there on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be a link to the playlist, my Where to Live in Fairfax County playlist. That contains I think we're up to like 12 or so videos about the Fairfax County market, about relocating to the Fairfax County market, about best neighborhoods in the Fairfax County area, best schools. Yes, so that's a playlist that will be available right there. And also subscribe to the channel, like this video, and there we have it. So we have that pitch out. Now let's get into the content. Okay, the first thing you need to consider is that selling your house yourself is going to take time, and you have to be patient with yourself, right? We've converted several for sale by owners, right? People who sell their houses on their own to our business model, just because usually they're not patient. They're just really not patient. And even after we get them under contract and we start assisting them with the selling process, it's still, time. This stuff still takes time. Like everything takes time. So yes, I know your neighbor, maybe you think to yourself, my neighbor sold their house in 17 seconds. Why am I still on the market? Hey, there's only a certain number of buyers in any market. If your neighbor sold their house recently, then that property took one of the buyers that was on the market. So now we have to find a new buyer, right? That buyer isn't buying multiple properties. So it's going to take time. Relax, okay? just calm down, lock it in, lock it in. Give yourself, maybe this is what I would suggest you do. If you're going to try to save that $12,000, I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to be honest. How long does it take you to make $12,000 at your job? Right? Maybe it takes you a month, right? The median income in Northern Virginia, for a median household income in Northern Virginia, it's like $144,000. So that means that people are usually making $12,000 working full time, maybe every 3.5 weeks here, right? So if it takes you 3.5 weeks working full time to make $12,000, why not dedicate that same amount of time and energy into selling your house? If you gave yourself 120 hours, right? That's what we're assuming that it takes you to make $12,000 in your normal job to sell your property. You would do a banged up job like that. You would do a much better job with that time allotment. So take your time. It's going to take a lot of time. Don't rush the process. Knock out your steps, put your plan together, and you're going to do just fine, right? So now that we know that time is of the essence, right? Time is a part of the process. You want to work backwards from whatever your schedule is, right? So say, for instance, remember I gave you this scenario where I assisted this lady who lived in Northern Virginia, was relocating because she was retiring to Florida. This individual had a timeline to sell their property, right? I think I met her in like the fall, and she wanted to be gone by the winter time. So she only had like 3 months really to do her to get her property sold. Give yourself, I would say, tack on maybe like 45 days onto whatever your anticipated target date is, right? Whatever your target date is, tack on 45 days to that to give yourself enough time to, if you need to hire an agent, you could, right? So build in the opportunity to hire an agent into your strategy, right? So maybe you give yourself 3 months to give you, this is a scenario for you. Maybe you give yourself 3 months to sell your property. Well, I would budget though before you have to leave, that you actually add 45 days onto that. So what you'd really be looking at is 4.5 months that you would give yourself to sell your property. That way, yes, sure, maybe you'll leave early, but then you still make that, $12,000-$15,000 on your own, right? And like I said, that's not chump change. If that's throwaway change for you, then you can reach out to me right now. Okay. All right. So we got the time piece down. Let's talk about pricing. Pricing your home is usually where most for sale by owners, most people who are selling their properties struggle. They struggle with this part of the process, right? And pricing is challenging. Pricing your home is challenging because you've lived in that property for such a long period of time, however many years it is. And the property is, you have an emotional attachment to this home. And whenever we have an emotional attachment to something, we don't use logic to make decisions. And because you're not using logic, right, or using less logic than normal, you start to inflate the value of things because of how you feel about the item. And sure, I showed you a graph just recently about the list prices increasing. Yes, you're right. The list prices are increasing. But to what extent? So when it comes to pricing, there's 3 ways I like to look at it. One, this is a slick way to get like what you believe the price of the property should be, and that is actually to interview real estate agents. If you now, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you this is how I've seen other people do it. Okay, all right. So this is not an endorsement of this idea. This is just letting you know how you can do this. So you can interview real estate agents. And like I said, we already said in a time period piece, though, you're going to test the market yourself, and then you're going to hire a real estate agent later anyway, right? So if you can't do it yourself, you're going to give it away to a real estate agent. Well, you can interview real estate agents, and real estate agents, when you interview a real estate agent, one of the things that they will bring with them on their interview process, even if you do a virtual interview, they will do a market analysis on your property, which will be like a research document that analyzes the market and tell you, okay, great, how much should I sell a certain property for, right? How much could I sell a property for if I put it on the market at a given time? You can use that data yourself, right? Once you interview the agent, you could just let them know you're not going to use their services, and then just use that document, use that information you learn from them on your own. This is a very popular tactic with for sale by owners. Is it unethical? I don't think so, because if you think about it, a lot of for sale by owners aren't successful. So they're going to hire a real estate agent anyway. You just met your real estate agent earlier. Now, the next thing on the pricing model, like how to find the price of your property, is to actually hire an appraiser. If you hire an appraiser, it'll only cost you maybe $400 to $600, depending on the size of your property. And you'll get a professional opinion, but somebody who isn't going to pitch you on the idea of selling your property. You get a nice, thick, healthy report. Usually it takes maybe a couple days turnaround time. And this will be the most thorough analysis you can use when pricing your property. Now, I will say, appraisers tend to struggle with pricing properties when there is no contract, because you got to realize appraisers' jobs are to verify value for the lender, right? They're not working for the buyer sake. They're not working for the buyers to protect the buyer. That's a lie that's been told in our industry for years. The appraiser is here to protect the lender. The lender doesn't want to make a loan on a property unless it can meet value. So that's when the appraiser comes in. But usually in that process, there's a contract. So that contract is a signal to the lender that at least we know one person wants to spend this much money on this property. But if you're using an appraiser to price your property before you even have a contract, right, to determine the market value of the property, there's no contract. So I find that appraisers' values sometimes come in a little low, right? A little low. And you just want to check that, right? Because remember, I showed you a document or a chart that says list prices are on the rise. They're on the rise. They're on the rise. So right now, in our market right now, this video is being filmed in February 2021. You kind of want to price ahead of the market, right? Like seriously, like this market is bananas. Kid you not. I can't talk about that. We still work with that client, so I can't talk about that. But this market is bananas. This market is crazy. All right, so that was the second way to price the property, right? So first way, interview some real estate agents, use their market analysis for the purpose of determining the price of your property. Number two, hire a real estate agent for pricing. And number three, there's the DIY method. Okay, so the DIY method, it's not rocket science, right? This is not going to be a science. Pricing the property anyway isn't a scientific method. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a couple pieces of data in, right? You're going to have to use some online portals to do some of your research, right? So that means you're going to have to use the Zillows or Realtor.com, stuff like that. And you're going to have to find out what properties are currently on the market for. Now, I need you to make a spreadsheet for this, right? So what you're going to start to do, you're going to start to track what properties are on the market for and how quickly, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for how quickly that property went under contract. And this is a tactic real estate agents use too. We know, real estate agents, we know that if a property goes under contract in less than 2 weeks, that property got a full price offer. Less than 2 weeks, there's really no negotiation going on. None whatsoever. 2 weeks, you're looking for 2 weeks on the market a full price offer. That's what we know. So that means that you know that you can get at least what that owner got. Again, another thing too, we know, and this is how you're just building your own valuation model, right? Your own data, your own listing price valuation model. Another thing we know, if the property goes off the market in a week, there were multiple offers. Multiple offers. If the property goes off the market, this is the guess. We're making a guess now. Now, we're not saying that this is accurate. This doesn't have to be accurate. This is more like an art. This is not a science. If the property goes off the market in less than a week, then they most likely got multiple offers. So that means that you really want to price your property above what your neighbor priced their property at. Lastly, you can also, if it depending on how structured you are, you can also make your spreadsheet to where you start tracking sold data. Some of these online portals actually have sold data on them. So if you see your neighbor's house, maybe you want to sell your house in March, right? Like we're in February right now. Maybe you want to sell your house in March. You remember that your neighbor, a couple of neighbors have already sold in December, January, February. Make a note of what those addresses were, and then go onto the online portals and then check that sold data out. This is going to help you build up a similar resource that the real estate agents prepare when pricing a property, right? So there you have it. So that's for the pricing piece, right? So we have the agent's part. You can use an agent, you can use an appraiser, and then you can DIY that process. The next part of the process is to prepare to show your home. You're going to prepare your home for the market. Now, on the for sale by owner side, I would say that this part here, because with pricing, you can't really fake the funk with pricing. The market is going to respond if your property is priced improperly. With the preparing to show your property, if your property doesn't look a certain way, you don't find that out unless you get feedback. And when you're selling a house on your own, you're rarely going to get feedback because, first of all, you have agents looking at your property who have ulterior motives, right? Like when you sell your house on your own, you're going to find agents come out the woodwork talking about, I just want to preview the property just to see if I may have a buyer. That's the game that they run on a regular basis. They don't have a buyer. They want to get you in the property and they want to chat you up. And if they chat you up, then they could kind of get in, like you become emotionally attached to that individual. And then, like I said, most people only have like a certain number of days that they can handle selling their house by themselves before they use a real estate agent. And then you'll call that real estate agent. That's the game, right? So you're going to find that a lot of agents call you just to, preview the property. But they're not going to give you advice on how the property looks because they really want you not to be too successful. They don't want you to change anything. So they don't school you or teach you this process. So when buyers, right? Think about this. If you do like a limited service agreement with a real estate agent or with a flat fee list only MLS company, that person also won't provide you with feedback. Those flat fee services, they don't go see the property. They don't know what the property looks like. So again, you're not getting that feedback. So we have to start to think about this. We're in the process of, we're not going to get any feedback. How am I going to position myself with my property, knowing that no one is going to tell me anything about what I'm doing wrong? The first thing you want to do when it comes to preparing your property show is you want to focus on the condition of the property. With condition is really like, how does the property work, right? How are things? What's the perception of whether or not a certain piece of equipment works, a certain system is functioning? That's what I'm talking about with condition. Painting, right? The condition of the floors, condition of things. There are two categories for condition. One is deferred maintenance. This is maybe your HVAC system hasn't been serviced. A lot of people have this problem. Is their HVAC system hasn't been serviced since they purchased the property or since they installed their HVAC system. I don't know why people don't service the HVAC system, but it's a common thing. Get your HVAC system serviced before you come on the market, because during the home inspection, it's going to come up. Maybe your roof needs some servicing. Maybe your gutters are filled to the brim, right? Maybe this is a fall season, your gutters are filled to the brim. Maybe your windows need to be washed. Like there's just some deferred maintenance on the property you want to handle before coming on the market. Then we have known repairs. These are things that you already know are a problem and you just haven't gotten around to it, right? Because it's not that big of an issue for you. Maybe your sink drips. Maybe there's a leak behind behind one of the drains. Maybe the toilet wall is wobbly. Maybe the door handle jiggles. Maybe, just maybe, the door doesn't close all the way. Maybe when you turn on the switch in one of the rooms, that light kind of flickers, then it comes on after a couple seconds. There's several things you know about the property that you just haven't come around to yet, and you want to take care of that. You want to take care of that before you go come on the market, because when buyers are looking through the properties, when agents are looking through the property with their buyer client, they're looking for things that may be an issue, and you want to take all that stuff off the plate. So that's the condition of the property. Next, we have the actual physical appearance of the property, also known as staging. Staging, when it comes to staging, you're trying to present the property in its best condition, not the realistic position, right? Like I get this from some clients where we are assisting them in the staging process, and they really start to question, like, Abraham, who lives like this? No one lives like this. That's the answer. No one lives like this. But that doesn't matter. When you see those pictures of those hotels, those rooms from the hotels, and you see these beautiful rooms, and they have maybe one glass of a half-filled champagne bottle or a half-filled champagne glass, but the champagne is full and the ice is dripping, the water, the condensation is dripping down the glass. That's not real. That's not how real people drink champagne and drink liquids. That's all called staging. It's marketing. You're doing the same thing for your property. So there's a couple things you can do for staging on your own. You can, first of all, declutter the property. If it's summertime and you have winter clothes in the closets, remove those clothes. Declutter the property. Declutter the property. On your bookshelves, you only want 1/3 of the shelf space taken. You want 2/3 of the shelf space available, because you want people to think that they can fit all their books there. They won't be able to, but that's our secret. Okay. They won't be able to. Everybody has more. If you're a book person, you have more books than you have shelves. Now, with your kitchen, you want to clear the counters off. Like there's so declutter. If you are not using it, move it. You're no longer using your house for its enjoyment. You're selling it. Too many paintings on a particular wall. Maybe you have family photos up. You want to remove all those items, right? This is the DIY project. Then you want to go for muted colors, right? Some muted, tone down the colors in your property. You don't want to have too many bold colors, right? Paint. You may need to paint the walls a nice neutral color. Don't please. Please don't paint your house white. Don't paint the white. Don't paint the property, the interior walls white. Okay. I know you think that it looks nice. It doesn't. It doesn't. A light gray may be something that you go for, but don't do white. Please don't. Those all white walls it's a challenge to sell those properties, especially if they're vacant too. So that's DIY, right? You could look up some information on the internet about staging rooms and moving furniture around on your own. That's the DIY approach. The next approach is really hire professional. They have professional stagers. You can call them over to your house. And they actually offer two services that you may not be aware of. One, professional stagers will actually they'll walk through your property for maybe like, I think it's between $300 to $500, depending on the stager. They'll do a full walkthrough of the property, and they will give you the analysis of how they would change things around in your property using your existing furniture, if you have existing furniture. And then they'll also give you a quote for if they staged the property themselves. So this is a huge benefit to you because you don't have to worry about if you bring a real estate agent in, the real estate agent is going to try to get the listing, right? So you're trying to avoid the sales pitch. The stager is not going to pitch you on their services. Pitch you on trying to list your property or represent you. They're only going to pitch you on the staging service. So you can hire a stager, get that information from them, use that information, follow their instructions. All right, so let's answer some questions. If you have any questions, let's take a brief intermission. I also need to take a swig of some water here. What do you think so far? I don't know if we have anybody. If we have any questions, check the comment section. What do you think so far? Is this information helpful? Is this information useful to you? If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, please type below, right? Type below in the comment section, FSBO. That stands for sale by owner. That's what you are if you're thinking about doing this. Type FSBO. If you're watching this, if you have sold a house by yourself in the past, how was that process? How did that process go? Let us know in the comment section. Let us know what went well for you. What would you change, or what would you do differently? Help these people out. Help these people out with your life experience. If you made it this far, you've decided, you know what, Abraham, those are too many steps for me. I just want to hire your services. There's a link in the description to the Perfect Home questionnaire. Fill out that questionnaire. It's a brief little survey. Once you finish that survey, we'll meet online. I'll answer any questions you have about buying a home, selling a home, relocating to Northern Virginia, best schools, any questions you have. We're here for you. Don't be shy. Look at this video's interview process. I hope you see that it's full of value already. And we still have 2 pieces left to this puzzle. We still have 2 pieces left to go. So I hope you didn't check out of here. All right. So we don't have any comments to answer. So let's get back into this conversation about selling your house yourself. All right, so this is the granddaddy of them all, the marketing piece. So remember, we've already discussed that, you've already allotted some time to do this process. You've come up with the price of the property. You have prepared your property to show. Now we're talking about marketing. Now we're ready to market this property. When it comes to marketing, there are a couple pieces to the marketing puzzle. First of all, there's the written description. Let's talk about the written word. There's a piece of the marketing that accompanies every property, and it's the listing description. The listing description is a few words about the property, and it just kind of explains from your perspective why somebody would want to see the property. The MLS has like a 5,000 word limit. I wouldn't put 5,000 words. I would put together maybe like 2 to 3 paragraphs about the property. You don't have to write a novel. Everybody's not reading it, and you're not going to win any awards for it. So you're looking at two to three paragraphs that talks about the property. You want to look at this from a perspective of, why do you like this property? What about this property made you choose it? Maybe it's the location, maybe it's the layout of the property, maybe it's the backyard space, maybe it's the the proximity to different shops and stuff like that. You want to kind of determine the essence of that property and work. Another thing agents do, and this is one of our moves, is we look at what the descriptions of other properties in that neighborhood are or were, and we kind of modify those descriptions to create a new description for your property. The way you can do the same thing is to go, remember that list of properties that you were already putting together on the spreadsheet that sold in around your neighborhood or came on the market in around your neighborhood? Look at that list, go into those online portals and see what their descriptions were. Copy and paste them to a Word document and move around the words. Make your own unique version of that description. After the description, you have the photos. Do not skimp on the photos. Please do not skimp on the photos. Do yourself a favor. Hire a professional photographer. Professional photography for photos for your listings, they only cost anywhere from $150 to $250. This is going to be the best money you can spend when selling your property. You'll get anywhere from 15 to 25 photos at those price ranges. They will come optimized for the MLS or for whatever marketing platform you're going to put them on. Get professional photos, okay? Stop it with the camera phone, your smartphone. Stop it with that point and shoot camera that you got from for Christmas. Stop it, okay? Just use a professional for this. It's unacceptable. Some of the photos I see on for sale by owners, people who are selling their properties themselves. And to be quite frank with you, you're already saving what, $10,000, $15,000. Just take a piece of that money and invest in professional photography. Now, we have this thing called next up. So after the photos, there's this thing called Matterport, and it offers 3D tours. Matterport is a good service right now because this video is being filmed in February 2021, right? There's a pandemic going on. You may not want to have a bunch of showings. And with Matterport, they reduce the number of showings you have. This is going to be a 3D tour, walking through the property. It's a very cool service, highly recommended. And it's going to cost you a few coins, right? Again, this is going to be a service that's going to cost you anywhere from $200 to $400, depending on the size of the property. The professional photography company that you use to take your photos is going to offer this service. If you need some recommendations to some professional photography companies in this area, let me know, reach out to me, and I can give you that information. We also have a tool that we use called floor plans. Floor plans are just 2D representations of the way your property is laid out. 2D representations. These are pretty cool. I would say that depending on the price range of the property will determine like whether or not you want to use one of these. If you have a 3-level property, then I would recommend getting a floor plan. Anytime you have a 3-level property, not a traditional townhouse, maybe like a three-level single family home, and there's some interesting layouts in the basement, interesting layouts in the bedroom area. Use a floor plan. Again, the professional photography company you use most likely offers the floor plan service. And lastly, flyers in the interior of the property. Flyers are optional. I got to be honest with you. I don't like flyers. I don't understand them really because most people are looking at properties with an agent. Even though you're going to be selling your house by yourself, almost every buyer that's going to come into the property is going to be represented by a real estate agent. So that means that all the information that you have about the property is going to be available somewhere. They can just look it up. I don't really understand yet why we need to have information inside the property during the age of the internet. I mean, you're watching this on the internet right now. This is a perfect example of how you can get your information very quickly. But if you want flyers, the same companies, the same professional company, the professional photography company that you use to take the photos of your properties, do the 3D tour, a Matterport tour, and create your floor plan, could also do the flyers. The last thing that you want to do when it comes to marketing is there is a document you want to prepare. Now, you don't have to have this inside the property, but there is a document you want to prepare, and it's called a list of updates, right? If whatever list of updates, I would say that this is almost like your Carfax report for your property. Now, I only suggest this if you've done things to your property. If you haven't done anything, don't share that list, because that list will be non-existent. Okay, so but if you have done things right, maybe you update the roof, maybe you update the bathroom, maybe you renovate the kitchen, update the appliances, changed out the HVAC system, new fence, new flooring, fresh paint, all that stuff, all that jazz, right? Just a little bullet point list of updates is what you want to use. What you want to just create this little document, list of updates, and have that ready for anybody who inquires about the property. They should have that list of updates. So that's when it comes. That's everything for marketing, right? So we have your written description, photos, 3D tour, floor plan, list of updates, flyers, right? That's everything for marketing. Now, the last thing we have is maybe the most important part: listing the property. When it comes to listing the property, you have a few options, right? First off, you can actually list it with the agent. Some real estate agents will actually list your property using something called like a limited service agreement, where you are actually the person in control of the process. It's usually at a much cheaper economical rate than the full service listing agreement, but this service is offered through some real estate agents. Next up, we have the flat fee service. Now, there are certain companies out there that have their whole business model is where you pay them X amount of dollars and you're just allowed to place the property on the MLS. Now, both of these options, option one, which is through an agent through a limited service agreement, and option two, a flat fee real estate company, both of those options assume that you're going to pay a buyer's agent commission. Now, a buyer's agent commission, you could be anywhere from 2% to 3%, right? I've seen anywhere in between 2.5. I would say it's more common to see 2.5 and 3% on these limited service agreements, but I've seen as little as 2. I mean, I've seen even 1%. It just, the commission is a touchy subject. We're gonna have to, I'm actually doing a video on what I see in like commission, real estate, how much commission is being paid to buyer's agents on a future video. So those are your two options if you are planning on paying a buyer's agent, right? Those two services also, they will, listen with the agent or a flat fee service. They'll syndicate, which means that they'll push out that data to multiple websites or internet portals. So your information, your listing information will show up several places. I would say the most important place is other real estate websites and Zillow. Zillow's a behemoth of a company. They have a nice chunk of the mind share when it comes to real estate. So you want to make sure that your property shows up there as well. Now, if you don't want to, if you're risky and you're like, you know what, Abraham, I see that. I saw that chart you showed me earlier, and I don't want to just save the buyer's agent commission. I want to save the listing agent commission. I mean, I don't want, yeah. So traditionally, for people who sell the houses by themselves, they usually they're just saving the listing agent commission, right? Usually they put it on the MLS somehow, and remember, most buyers are represented by buyer's agents. But what if you say, you know what, Abraham, I feel risky. I feel like this market is the time for me to make the most amount of money, and I'm going to make it all off of the commission. I'm not paying a buyer's agent commission or a listing agent commission. So what you're talking about doing is you're talking about just listing the for sale by owner. You're talking about putting a sign in the yard and that's it. Well, believe it or not, there's actually you still have some options when it comes to listing your property. You can still list it on Zillow. without a real estate agent. You can still list it on Facebook Marketplace. You can still list it on Nextdoor. There are some Facebook groups that you can also list your real estate property on to gain some traction. You can hang flyers up. Well, hanging flyers up used to be a thing, but now people don't really go many places in this era. So sure, you could hang the flyers in different coffee shops and grocery stores, stuff like that. But people just aren't really like lingering like they used to because of this whole pandemic. So that's your option, right? Those are your ways to list a property. You can list it with an agent, limited service agreement. You can use a flat fee company, and you can do FSBO, a traditional for sale by owner, where you want to save both the buyer agent and the seller agent commission, and you just list it on your own. You just put the property where you want to put the property and manage that data yourself. So there you have it. Woo. There you have it. That is everything you need to know, I believe, about selling your home on your own. Now, we didn't get into the accepting contracts, managing showings, all that jazz. That'd be another video for another time, right? I just wanted to get you up to speed to getting your property on the market without a real estate agent. That's the name. That's what the title of this video is. And I wanted to fulfill that promise. I hope that you see that this process does take a little time, but it can be rewarding, right? Like there's a little change, right? There's a couple $1,000s up for grabs here. I think you can do it in this market. I think it's possible, plausible. And I hope you found this information helpful, right? If you watch this video after it's aired and you thought that the information was valuable to you, please post a comment down below. Let me know that you like the video. The more feedback I get, the more I want to do these videos, right? If you're thinking about selling on your own, but you watch this video and you're thinking to yourself, like, Abraham, I don't want any part of that. That just seems too intensive, right? Can things go wrong when selling your property on your own? Sure. Things can go wrong even using a real estate agent. So there's risk associated with living. There's risk associated with living. So let's evaluate the risk, make the best decision based on your risk tolerance, and then move forward. If you have any questions, right, and you want me to answer those, we could jump on a Zoom session. Go into the link, fill out the perfect home questionnaire. That questionnaire will be just a few questions, brief survey. After you finish that survey, we will meet online and I'll answer any questions that you have about the market, about buying a home, selling a home, relocating to the area, and all that jazz. If you like this video, you found it helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and share it with a friend. Well, that's it for me. That's it for this video. I appreciate you giving me, if you made it this far, I appreciate your attention up to this point. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. Peace.